So yeah, Sherlock. And 2011. So, well, that's kind of a... Well, you already knew. I made a video with all the listing of it. If you want to see all from 1999 to 2025, unless there's a new film that miraculously comes out in the next couple of days, and it's like, yes, this. I don't think so. There is a reason. But, 2011. There is two films, and I am going to talk about one thing that I find really hilarious, is for the next couple of years, because for a while, for a period of time that you've recently seen, there was Saw. When was it? Let me just check. Because it was from Saw 1 being 2004, Saw 2 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 was Saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 3D. And even though I am just mentioning that, I'm not going to talk about the specific one because that wasn't coming out in 2011. I think the idea was they were trying to do yearly releases, but then past a certain point, because Saw 1, 2, and 3 did well, and after that I think it started pivoting up. But anyway, we're not talking about that. Besides the behind the scenes stuff, and I just thought it was funny. The two that I want to quickly point out, one because I love the TV series and I just want to mention it, but I don't think it is good, is there's a film series, Full Metal Alchemist, The Scarlet Star of Milos, which I have seen, and I like it. I just wanted to mention that because I like Full Metal. I think this is from Full Metal, not Full Metal Brotherhood. There's also Cabin in the Woods. Now, I'm going to be honest, I love Cabin in the Woods, but the one that I picked, which is Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows, I think is a bit better. I also will admit that it's not really a good movie, but best movie always has personal flavours added to it, so I'm not going to claim that because it's not the best movie, like how it's filmed, how it's this, because I know there's a couple of things that aren't really perfect. There's a couple of things that I'm like, but I do like the idea. I do like, this is sort of one of the ones like I think Scream was, which is satirizing a sort of horror trope, which Scream was fully a slasher one, which is still in the idea of slashers. And the reason why I think Scream did better than Cabin in the Woods, because Scream kind of acknowledges the faults of the slasher genre, yet still exists within a slasher genre. It still has the trope, it still is a slasher genre, it is just in a way existing and still pointing them out. Whilst Cabin in the Woods still does exist within that monster trope, but it very much just points out. Whilst if you take Scream 1, it's like, oh, behind you, it's behind you. Wait, this is a delay. And then that's a reveal, which is actually one of the most terrifying and creepy kills. There's also reasons why certain people do certain actions. Whilst in this, they're like, oh, spray these people, make them, which is not the best, which I think is why it didn't do well. I still love it, because I like the idea of the monsters and below. And realistically, I think one thing that would be really fun as an idea, and this is just a hypothetical, anyone, I don't know who owns Cabin in the Woods, anyone who wants it can take it. One of the things, because at the end of the film, the world ends because they didn't complete the ritual. One of the things you could do with Cabin in the Woods is realistically, you could show the prior years, being like, here are the prior years, here's what built up to it, because they had a perfect record, which I think is really interesting as an idea. Anyway, Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. I am going to point out the previous film of this, which isn't that far away. This only came out 2 years after, and there was probably some productions in late 2010, because I think this was out early 2011. And I will acknowledge film franchise take a while. It could also be late, and it's still being like late 2010 to around about like summer. I think it was more summer 2011. So it's less than a year than starting production, but I think Sherlock Holmes originally, which I do like some of the mysteries, I do like how it looks magical and how they reveal. And I fully admit that I listen to some of the soundtracks. That has a da-da-da. But comparing Sherlock Holmes, that, which is still a good mystery, to 2009's Coraline, I prefer. But with the other two I mentioned, Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows, which kind of is a bit bad, because it's like, well, Sherlock Holmes didn't beat Coraline, which are both like pretty like decent movies, and Sherlock Holmes was worth mentioning, but Coraline's better. You have Cabin in the Woods versus. It feels a little bit less. It's like, well, is it really that good? It is, because I like the idea that it's this game. I find it interesting how they kill Irene Adler, which even in the Moriarty films, they just take. They got to actually comes back later on. It's really interesting. And I think it's better. But I get why. There's a whole theming of like taking the queen off is really interesting. Definitely, there's a YouTube video analyzing the Lost chess match, which I think is one of the most interesting things to watch. Overall. But yeah, the idea of the games, the strategic things, I think is really good and really fun to watch. So yeah, I definitely 100% recommend for you to watch this. I think it's really good. Yeah. Yeah, the next year is... Also, if anyone's curious about this is more behind the scenes. The last film should be on the 25th of the 11th. So this entire month will be towards this. And then I'll be going back to Criminal Minds. There is one more that I want to do beyond Criminal Minds. So to the 25th, you'd have this sort of thing about like more of the films. And I am going to acknowledge, if there is a film later on, I will update in a post on like my YouTube account about like, either an update of here is the new updated film for what I think, because I watched a film that might be a bit older. I'm fully watching some stuff that could have come out in between when I was born and not. Like one of the films that I did watch was VHR, which I don't actually have. It's not one of the ones I'm going to be able to list, and I think it was something before. But it could be one of the things where it's like, oh yeah, this is added. Then it'll be the rest of the Criminal Minds episode I want to talk about, and then the Crime Scene Zero, which I want to talk about each individual mystery because I like certain aspects of it. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, I hope you like, and good night.